श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवाननी जय, अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराजनी जय, गुणातीतानंद स्वामी महाराजनी जय, भगत जी महाराजनी जय, शास्त्री जी महाराजनी जय, योगी जी महाराजनी जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराजनी जय, गुरु हरि महंत स्वामी महाराजनी जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज शताब्दी महोत्सवनी जय. Namaste and Jai Swaminarayan. Welcome back to the BAPS Tabla for Beginners course. We hope you have practiced and learnt all the things from class 1 and are now ready to move on to class 2. We want you to note that every class will have a little bit of theory and a little bit of practical. Let us do a little bit of revision of class 1. Please point to the tableau known as the bayu. Now point to the dayu. Can you show us what is known as indhoni? What are the gajra? Now show us where is the shahi. Where is the Medan? What are Datta? How should we sit when we play tabla? Well done for getting many of these basics of our class 1 correct. Before we go further, let's remember the secret formula which can be applied whenever you learn something new. During this whole course, whenever we learn to play something, always remember to first look, then listen, then try to learn by heart, and then finally launch to begin playing and practicing. Let us now revise some of the sounds from class 1. Now, we want you to practice all the basic bols together with us. ta, 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 ta. Method 1. Method 2. G, 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 G. Exercise 1. Ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, ka. Exercise 2. Ta ta ka ka ta ta ka ka. Exercise 3. Ge ge ti ta ke ke ti ta. Exercise 4. Ge ge ti ta ge ge ta ta. You may not be aware, but by learning tabla, or in fact, by learning any musical instrument or learning to sing, you are actually learning to develop the right hemisphere of your brain. Learning music or tabla helps to develop our kinesthetic abilities. It helps us to develop our self-control and synchronization of the body, mind, and other senses as well. Instrument players also develop a greater level of creativity and intuition. So keep up the learning and keep going for longer periods of time. Another important part of learning tabla is understanding phrases and terminology. We will simply mention the various phrases or terms used during the classes, but we request everybody to read up on them and learn them in their own time. Let us hear some of those phrases used so we can familiarize ourselves with them. We would like to request everyone to repeat the phrases as they are said. Tal, lay, bol, sam, matra, tali, bhari, khali, avartan, आस, तिहाई, बाज, घराना, चक्रधार, दुगुन, चौगुन, अष्टगुन, कायदा, पलटा. Now that we have learned how to play on each tablu individually, we will now combine both hands together and learn to play certain bowls. The first bowl is known as dha. Dha is played with ta on the tablu and ge on the bayu. So when you play the ta and the ge together, that becomes dha. Dha, 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 dha. Now let us look at dhin. Dhin is played in a similar way like dha, but instead of ta, we play tin. So you play tin on the tablu and ge on the bayu. With tin and ge combined, you make dhin. Dhin, 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 dhin. The third bowl is dhun. Dhun is played by playing tun on the tablu and ge on the bayu together. Tun and ge together become dhun. Dhun, 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 धुन 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 धुन. Now let us look at another element, which is thun. Thun is played by playing tun on the tablu and ke on the bayu together. Tun plus ke become thun. Thun, 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 thun. We will now look at something which is a little bit more complicated and is used at an advanced level. But we are becoming familiar with it now so that we can learn all the bowls together in one class. This is the bowl Tirakita. Tirakita is played using different parts on each tablu. Let us first focus on tira and then ki and then ta. Tira is played in the same way as tita. So we use the 3 fingers and hit them onto the center part of the shahi like this. Ra is then played by using the index finger and hitting the center part of the shahi like this. And then ki is played by placing the hand on the bayu with a flat sound like this. And the last ta is played again by hitting the 3 fingers together on the shahi like this. Let us now have a look at how to play them one after the other in succession. Ti, ra, ki, ta. To reap the full benefits of this entire course, we would highly recommend everyone to commit fully until the course ends. The 2-year course is divided into 6 terms or semesters. Each term or semester will have 10 classes. and each class will cover various aspects of basics, theory and tals. In term 1, we will be covering a little bit of theory for one class, the basics for 3 classes, tal kerwo for 3 classes with various variations, revision for 2 classes, and a small end of term test for 1 class. In the second term, we will be doing more revision of the theory and basics for 2 classes. We will then move on to learn more variations of tal kerwo for another 2 classes. Then we will focus on a new tal, which is tal dadro, for 2 classes with variations. And also we will look at the original tal of tal kemto with variations for 1 class. Then we will do revision with bhajans for 2 classes, and there'll be a class test in the last class of term 2. In term 3, we will cover various exercises and tal revision. We will then do more variations for tal kerwo. We will cover the original tal of Hinch and a few variations. We will then cover variations only of tal dadro and tal kemto. We will also cover the original tal and a few variations of tal dipchandi. And then we will move on to doing revision with bhajans and then take a compulsory exam at the end of the term. Let us now have a look at year 2. In term 4, we will begin with a little bit of theory to refine our sound on playing tabla, along with basics and some further exercises. We will then cover more variations of tal kerwo for several classes, which will also include learning how to play chalti. Then we will do variations for several classes for tal hinch, dadro and kemto as well. We will then move on to doing more variations for tal deepchandi, and then do 1 class of revision with bhajans and a class test at the end of term 4. In term 5, we will strengthen our basics and a little bit of theory. We will then revise how to play with bhajans in tal kerwo and learn further variations of other things. As an introduction to tal teen tal, we will also learn the original, as it is the king of all tals. We will then move on to learning variations for hinch, dadro and kemto to be able to play with more confidence when we play with bhajans. We will then proceed to learn more variations of tal dipchandi and also rupak. At the end of the term, we will take the class term test. In the last term of the entire course, we will not be doing any revision of any theory. We will only learn a few basics of new sounds and patterns. We will then revise for the exam at the end of the year for several classes for tal kerwo, tal hinch and also tal deepchandi. We will then learn a few variations for tal rupak, and then for 2 classes practice with various bhajans and revise many of the things that we have learned. The exam at the end of the year is compulsory for all. For today's homework, we would like you to go over the terminology chart and remember the phrases and definitions. You will also need to practice all the balls and exercises to improve the quality of your sound and strengthen your muscles. Don't forget, 25 to 30 minutes per day, every day. Namaste and Jai Swami Narayan.